comrades. This is Behind the Walls Talk with your founder, William McCallum, and I thank you for visiting this domain. I'm here to give you an insight into the minds and hearts of those incarcerated that have been deemed voiceless. Well, this is where their voice and stories will be told for those of you who are concerned with human beings that are in prison for the mistakes they have made and for some of the injustices that were committed against them. Resolutions for reform is the goal and objective looking to be obtained. Now step into our world. This is Behind the Walls Talk with your host, William McCallum. And I have a very special guest with me here today, Mr. Tim Gallon. This is a brother whose case was a wrongful conviction, and he's looking to restore his dignity, his honor, and his integrity within his family, and make sure that he leaves behind a legacy to where he's not a convicted murderer. So without further ado, tell the listeners, my brother.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
What's your name and where are you from?
Tim Gallion. I'm from Buncombe County, up near Asheville, North Carolina, a little community, Barnersville.
Oh, Barnersville. Oh, Asheville, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What were you charged with? How much time did they give you?
I was charged with a few charges, but the conviction that I'm
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
currently serving a life sentence without parole for first-degree murder.
With your case, you said that you was wrongfully convicted. Could you explain to us what evidence behind you being wrongfully convicted and the technicalities that you faced?
The majority of my problems are ineffective assistance. It was a pretty sloppy investigation. My first attorney withdrew 29 months into my case. The second attorney that they assigned to me was very ill prepared when he went to trial. I sat in county 3 years waiting to go to trial. We had DNA evidence that should have sent me home, collected from the murder weapon, that did not match mine or the victims. It came back to an unknown individual. My attorney stated in his opening statement to the jury that they would see that, and he never presented it. So that's information that the jury wasn't privy to. A lot of major issues with my representation, and that's basically what mine boils down to.
Yeah, that's definitely effective assistance of counsel.
I have several claims that I can back up. I have documentation, the transcript, discovery. I can actually support everything that I'm claiming. So
what has your appeals process been like?
My appeal was finalized. My direct appeal was finalized in 21 with the Court of Appeals finding no error. But with the Court of Appeals, they are limited to errors made by the court, strictly that's in the record. They really don't address the ineffective assistance. So again, they found no error in my trial based on the information they had.
Yeah. So you have to file a motion of appropriate relief in order to get that ineffective assistance of counsel looked at.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you now been incarcerated?
3 years in my county waiting to go to trial, and I've been on the state for 5 years.
So what have your prison sentence been like so far?
I'm sorry, sir, you cut out.
I said, what have your prison sentence been like so far? Like, what have your experience in prison been like?
It's very difficult to get any help here. There's terrible overcrowding. They've got folks coming in here that come in to do a 90-day sentence or a 12-month sentence. The overcrowding and the resources are very lacking. For instance, if folks are working on their cases, there's no way to get copies made. There's no real support system here as far as the facility helping folks. And there's a lot of innocent folks in here.
Yeah, see, that's the problem right there, right? Like, we deal with that at every facility in North Carolina. We don't have no type of assistance, no support when it comes to them helping us work on our cases. You know, and like you said, a lot of guys are innocent. A lot of guys have technicalities in their cases that they can get their cases overturned, but they don't have the resources and support to help them get that done.
Yes,
that's a problem in the state of North Carolina.
And they have the prison legal service. However, they have such a backlog. And they are mainly focusing on prison conditions.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And more on the civil side of things rather than helping folks get back in court. So there's not really any assistance, and there's not as many pro bono attorneys out there that's willing to, or that I've had any luck with anyway, or anyone else I've dealt with. That it's just hard. If you've got money, you can hire someone, then you can obviously get some help. But there's no resources for inmates to amount to anything.
That's right. Okay.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I'd like to ask you some personal questions, like, do you have any children?
Yes, sir. I have a son that he'll be 27 in May.
He'll be 27 in May. Wow. Is there anything that you would like to say to him right now?
I really let him down, and him and his mother and my wife. I've been gone out of his life for 8 years, and I really messed up. I really not due to necessarily because I'm guilty of this crime, because I am not, and but I turned to substance abuse. I committed adultery toward my wife, or on my wife. And I became someone that neither one of them or anyone else was used to. So I want to say I love him. I love my wife. I'm sorry. And again, all of my fight's not about freedom. It's, I don't want to, as you mentioned legacy earlier, I don't want to be known to, my son and potentially my grandchildren down the road that I was a convicted murderer. That stigma I don't want on them. And I guess that's my main goal in getting some assistance and proving my innocence.
That's right. Well, we're definitely going to make sure that your voice is going to be heard. We're going to make sure that you get some assistance and some support, some outside support upon your case. Do you have moral or mental support for someone in society? Like, is there somebody there for you that you could call, talk to, and they could just help you out your situation?
Yes, sir. I have my brother Adrian. He's my older brother, and he's doing the best he can to help me, tracking down resources and making some phone calls and reaching out for me. And he's a true blessing.
That's all right. Yeah, we always need somebody that can be there for us, man. Because without that outside help, it's really hard. Because just like we were just speaking about, the inside help, we don't get none of that at all. Period. Anyway. So we definitely have to have that outside support to get any type of assistance or help.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I will say one more thing about my son. I'm very proud of him. He's a firefighter and an EMT up in Buncombe County, and he's endured a lot. And yes, sir. He's really stepped up and helping take care of his mother, and I'm so very proud of him. And that was actually my career for about 15 years, EMS and fire in Buncombe County, and I'm just so very proud of him. And he's stayed out of trouble.
He's doing more to take care of his family. He's taking care of the community as well, especially with that hurricane that just passed through Asheville.
Yes, sir. He's been real busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And
you got a lot of
also, if I may, the youth that's in here is really staggering. The youth that's coming to prison, and if I could just speak to them, if you're, my problem was not peer pressure, but there's so much of it out there, and I just encourage any of the young folks that's fallen and susceptible to peer pressure to please find something. I find solace in God, and I just I pray for them, and if they're fighting substance abuse, get some help. And if they find someone they love, stick with them and be good to them.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely have to reach out to our youth. We definitely have to be the elders that the youth are looking up to. We have to lead by example, and we have to be able to guide them in the proper direction and give them the advice that they need at all times.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
There's our favorite woman coming on there.
And with that, I want you to call back, and Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Back to Behind the Walls Talk. Hey, Mr. Gall, I'd like to ask you, what's your story on how you grew up as a youth, the experiences you've had, and the traumas you may have endured?
To be honest, I didn't really have any traumas. I didn't. I grew up in a divorced family of mother and father, and for a number of years, I blamed a lot of my shortcomings on that upbringing, and then I realized that it was up to me to overcome the things that I was holding, that was holding me back or holding me down. And so I guess my growing up was a lot better than a lot of folks that are here. I didn't get in trouble till I got old. So I didn't have, I didn't come to prison at a young age or have a lot of trouble like that. But
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
there's certainly a lot of it, especially in here.
Okay. So let me ask you this right here. When you was growing up as a kid, what was it that you wanted to be when you was growing up?
Mostly, believe it or not, a police officer. My
Yeah?
father was my father was a police officer.
Okay.
And I happened to get into the fire service totally by accident. I was invited, to come attend a volunteer meeting in Barnersville, and that's how I got into fire service. And but yeah, that was my ambition, I guess, was to be a police officer, and wound up being in the fire service and then the construction industry. So.
Okay. Sounds like you come from a well-to-do family, man. Like you said, you ain't had no trauma in your life. Well, some psychologists would say having divorced parents and everything, that could be some type of trauma within the child too as well. But it seems like you grew up pretty well though. Like you had your head on your shoulders and everything. Got through school very well. That's all right.
My father was an alcoholic. And things again, things weren't always good. And alcohol was I turned to alcohol for a few years, and then was able to get away from it. And I had a very bad call, EMS call, that pretty much ended my career mentally. And later on started self-medicating with alcohol. And that's why I would encourage, like I said, anyone who's I'm diagnosed with PTSD and depression and stuff you really don't realize until you see someone that can help you and diagnose you and get you on the right track. Mental health is something that's greatly overlooked. And it's kind of a dumping station in the prison system. There's a lot of mental health issues here, and people, they don't get the treatment that they certainly deserve.
Right about that. Definitely right about that. And let me ask you something. I want to go back to when you were sentenced to a life without parole. What was that feeling and that experience that you felt when the judge said that you were guilty and now you know that you had life without parole? What was that feeling? What was that was going through you at that moment?
To be perfectly honest, I knew that at that moment I didn't react. I know, and God knows that I'm innocent, and at that very moment, I just knew that someday I would have that overturned. So, I didn't. Maybe I reacted, unlike a lot of people. I couldn't accept it, but it's a temporary thing. And again,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I know there's someone out there that can help me, and so I don't claim it.
I like that, man. That's
I don't claim
confidence. I love that confidence.
I don't claim the life sentence, and I'm certainly again not. I am innocent.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're an innocent man. I love that confidence in your innocence. Because you know that you were wrongfully convicted, and you know that you were wronged, and you want to right this wrong. And I understand your fight to fight for freedom. And I definitely support that.
Yes, sir. And
Have you had to
know, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, sir.
You okay? What was you about to say?
The only thing I'm asking for is for someone to listen and see and just see what I've got, and that's really all I'm asking for. Just a fair chance. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's as I said, you know, my reasonings.
Yeah. Let me ask you this right here. Have you had to deal with the death of any loved ones since you've been incarcerated?
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I'm sorry, sir. What was that?
Have you had to deal with the death of any loved ones since you've been incarcerated?
11 days after I was arrested, that was in 2017, my mother passed away. It was an expected death. We had brought her home to her home with her husband in hospice care. And she was pretty much incapacitated, and she was not aware that of anything going on with me, and I'm thankful that she didn't have to hear that. But she 11 days after I was arrested, she passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Is there anything that you would like to say to her right now?
I love her, and I really miss her, and I look forward to seeing her one day.
That's right. That's right. Will you tell the listeners what a second chance in society means to you?
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you.
I said, will you tell the listeners of Behind the Walls Talk what a second chance in society means to you?
It would give me a great satisfaction to be able to. I need to repair some bridges that's long been burned. Not just this particular situation, but again with hurting my wife like I did, and my son, and my actions and alcohol cost me a lot of friendships, cost me my family, and I would just really like the opportunity to do good again. Like I said, you know, try to make some repairs to some real extremely damaged relationships, and I would certainly like to reach out and help anyone else that I could from being out there that's in my situation now. Possibly even something with your organization or somebody else to try to provide support for some folks in here. They would mean a great deal.
Are there any last words you?
I want to thank
any last words you would like to share with the listeners?
I want to thank you. You folks are doing an awesome job, and I want to thank your listeners, because I know that you've got a good following, and I want to thank anyone that's willing to help any of us. And I certainly keep you folks in prayer, and everyone out there, everyone that you're helping, and I hope and pray that you can continue and get the resources that you need, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I look forward to anyone contacting me, and I'm at Lumberton Correctional.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I would love to hear from somebody.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Tim Gallo, call back. So Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Back to Behind the Walls Talk with Mr. Tim Gallo. We were down to our last question, and we was down to you sharing your last words with Behind the Walls Talk, Mr. Gallo. So is there anything that you would like to share with Behind the Walls Talk?
No, sir, not any further. Like I said, and just to praise you folks and your listeners. I know your listeners are necessary to keep you going and to continue the fight for the folks in here. And I just can't express my gratitude enough. And I would certainly appreciate the opportunity for someone to listen to me, and just at least give me an opportunity to fill in what I obviously can't do on the time that we have.
That's right. I thank you so much. Me and my wife, we thank you for joining Behind the Walls Talk and giving us this wonderful interview. And it's always a gratitude for us, to make sure that you guys' voices are being heard. And, we're going to always do our part in making sure that it's being heard, making sure that we present it in the best way that we possibly can. And we thank you once again for joining Behind the Walls Talk. Ladies and gentlemen out there listening to Behind the Walls Talk right now, there's a bill that we have on our website.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
It's for the guys that have life without parole, and we're looking to make sure that these guys get parole at a decent time. So please make sure that y'all look at the bill and make sure that you support it by contacting your local legislatures and speaking out upon this bill. You can call, you can email. The number and the email will be on our website. So if you want to support us and support the bill and support these guys that's locked up behind these walls with life without parole, make sure you contact your local legislature and use the information and the contact information that we have presented to you. And Mr. Tim Gallo, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. God bless you. Like I said, we're gonna make sure that your voice is being heard. I hope that your family, your wife, and your son, I hope that they can find it in their hearts to forgive you. Listen to this interview. Listen to your compassion. Listen to your genuine words of passion, and accept you back into their lives and understand and know that you're an innocent man. Thank you, man.
And I thank
Behind
you.
the Walls Talk.